Hey everyone, welcome back to Hammer and Anvil. I'm Dave. Thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate your time. Today is Saturday, January 8th, 2022. And this video, I'm going to do a kind of a year review of some of my creations that I still have in my possession. Some of these were made at the end of 2020 as well, so going back a little bit further. But this is everything that I still currently have in my possession. So before I get into that, I would like to have a new subscriber shout out like I promised in a couple videos ago. So the last month I've gotten 7 new subs, so I really appreciate that. Hopefully I don't butcher your names, but I'm going to read off my chicken scratch here, going from oldest to newest. Frank Sharo, Shed Therapy, Tim Lastovica, I believe that's how you pronounce it. I know I'm going to mess this one up because it's either Torbs or Torbes. Gil Mendonca, and Charlie Sahar. So I really appreciate you guys. It means a lot to me that you're telling me you're getting enough out of it to actually want to stick around and see what else is coming up. So moving forward, so in no particular order, I'm just going to show off what I have. All of these are available or will be available for purchase at a very reasonable price because I've had them for a while. All of these, well, 2 of these were commissions. The rest of them I was just doing for fun. I think I might have only one on a YouTube video. Excuse the very loud vehicle starting up across the street. Apparently mufflers or vehicles without mufflers are now legal in California, I guess. Anyway, let's get right to it. I'm gonna go with the first one because you've seen it on my video. I got like a 5-part video or something like that. That's my Blacksmith style push dagger. Not legal in my state. Not legal to make, or not illegal to make, but illegal to resell. So I can't obviously resell this to anyone in California. So anyone outside of California that this is legal to own, this will be available. So this is 80 CRV2 blade that's been blued, cold blued, with a mahogany insert for strength and aesthetics. There's also a finger guard so you don't hit yourself if you're actually hitting something really hard. Fits really nice in the hand, either your first 2 fingers or your second and third finger works just fine. If you use it as a second and third, you got a little bit of a hammer fist there protruding, which would definitely hurt and not kill. Extremely sharp. It's been saber ground, so all 4 sides have been ground. Really nice, really clean. I really like how it came out. One I made just before that was this Blacksmith style knife. This was my first time at doing this. This is an 80 CRV2 as well. I left it what they call brute de forge. It really came to shape kind of all by itself. I knew exactly what I wanted it to look like, and for some reason, maybe it was mind over matter, but it came out exactly how I wanted it in my mind. So it's a perfect size. I mean, you can tell by the gook on it that I've used it a lot. I still use it every day, pretty much, mainly as a box opener, but the blade is extremely sharp. So yeah, very comfortable. I don't have a sheath for this, but again, this is available. Obviously, if it's purchased, I can get this gunk off and resharpen the blade to my standards, because right now it does need to be a little bit sharpened, but it's still really super sharp. Next one after that is, this one looks a little bit goofy, but it feels really comfortable in the hand. This is my style, my take on a small K-bar. So I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up very well, but I did a lot of file work on the back. It's very symmetrical. It looks very cool when you're looking down the spine. It gives it almost a serpent texture. This is a ironwood guard that I sculpted. And then there is leather and dyed green stabilized maple burl for the handle that's alternating. That's the part that to me it looks goofy and it looks fat, but again, it fits really nice in the hand. And then 2 brass nuts, believe it or not, that I silver soldered, that I brazed. And I wish I would have made a video on this. Maybe I'll make one in the future of how I formed this shape, basically the skull cracking shape. So again, blade super sharp, been gun blued, so cold blued to give it the finish. So again, not my favorite, but again, it was a lot of firsts for me. My first through tang, my first actual guard, my first stacked handle, my first actual pommel. So there was a lot of things that I learned on here that I can use for future. So don't be afraid to make something look goofy if you need to just experiment and learn. This one here was a commission piece that basically backed out. So what I do now is, I don't know if anyone else does it, but because I put all my time and effort into this knife without taking any payment, and then the person that was supposed to pay for it never actually did, basically I wasted a bunch of time making this knife, and it's a really beautiful piece. But what I'm doing now is, just as for my business, is I do a 50% deposit up front. Number one, that buys material, and number two, that gets me a commitment from the buyer saying, yes, I'm for sure gonna buy this piece once it's finished. And I keep them involved the whole way through, from the design to the finish to the handle materials. So definitely it's your knife as much as it is mine, unless you give me creative freedom to do otherwise. But here it is, basic sheath. This was like my first leather sheath that I attempted to make. It's not beautiful, but it definitely holds the knife and protects it from junk. So this is more of a Skinner style. This has been differentially heat treated. This is 1095 carbon steel, and hopefully I'm able to get close enough to where you can see what looks like to be a hamon line. However, that's not what this is. 1095, where I purchased this from, I read the heat treating specs, and it advised for maximum hardness to treat this in water for 1 second and then let it cool in oil. And that's exactly what I did, and I got this crazy like hamon that I wasn't even able to sand out. It's literally like this cutting edge is so much harder than the rest of everything. This is one blade that I did for stock removal, so I'll be honest with you, it's not forged. It's 1/4 inch thick spine, so it's nice and heavy, but it's very well balanced. If I could get it right where it needs to be, right at the transition from the handle to the blade, is perfectly balanced, so it doesn't feel heavy. Got a nice little clip for your thumb right there for skinning, and the blade and the cutting edge is a micro cutting edge, and it's polished, so if it's picking it up, you'll see it's reflecting really nice mirror polish. My maker's mark on the back. A lot of my knives have different maker's marks. My stencil got messed up, so I was just using some basic font that you can download on any computer. So I'm not happy with those. It's not my actual maker's mark, but now from every knife going forward, it has the proper one. Next up is what I call the Dozer. This I call the tank. This is called the Dozer. This is when I started naming knives now. Had to get with that trend. Another sheath, basic sheath. I took it up a notch, try to make some texturing, put a little protective side on the back of it. This is the Blackout knife. I'm pretty proud of this one. This has my very first logo on it, which looks like a shield, but it's actually two bees that are very stylized, facing away from each other. A lot of you guys might say, oh, you got the sharp texturing on the top of the spine. Those are stress risers. In fact, that's true on most knives, but because this is also stock removal at 1/4 inch thick, I chopped through a 2x4 4 times before I sharpened this thing again, and there's no cracks whatsoever. So I know this thing will stand up through anything. This is more of a camp / bushcraft style knife. Again, really heavy, forward heavy too, should be, yeah. So it's forward heavy right at the balance point. It's basically a small chopper, fits really good in the hand. There is a finger well here. Kind of sort of a sharpening choil, but it kind of just drops off instead of a little divot. It's all black, so it's been gun blued and also stone washed. The handle is 2200-year-old bog oak, which is jet black, and I also use carbon fiber pins, so you really can't really see them unless the light hits it perfect. There's actually pins holding this thing on, but it came out really nice. I just wish I would have done the sheath a little bit better. Maybe in the future I'll work on it and change the sheath if that's what somebody wants to buy and they want a nicer sheath with it. I'm pretty capable of doing that now. Next one, so is a lot of firsts for me that you've probably been eyeing in the video, is this little katana slash Wakasashi. So Wakasashis are over 18 inches in length. I think this is just barely over that. Brute de forge, made out of 5160. A lot of firsts. Again, never first knife of this size that actually came out nice and straight. It's about 3/16, maybe a little bit thicker than that thick. First time making a guard made out of hammered brass with details on the side. My first hidden tang as well, mosaic pin in there with dye green maple burl that you'll notice is where that came from. So super nice. Handle's a little bit slick, but you know, it's more, for me, it's more of a showpiece to just show what I was capable of doing. What I'm most proud of on this is the fit up from the ricasso to the guard is, I mean, outstanding in my opinion. There's no light coming through it at all. It almost looks like the guard was formed out of the blade material. So it's, you know, if I'm tooting my own horn, it's a really, really nice piece. Really good weight. It's super sharp. I cut through cargo belts with this thing, posted on my Instagram, so you guys can go back and take a look at that if you want to. Also made this little stand for it out of poplar, which turned out quite cool, so it fits in there perfectly. Cool. Next one up is going to be these three. I call these three the wise men. These are basically gentlemen straight razors. These are, I believe these are 80 CRV2 if I remember correctly. All with Kieranite handles, synthetic handles. Taken to a semi matte finish, I guess you could call it. The handles. This was inspired to me by another knife maker on Instagram, Michael West, I believe is his name. He puts really cool lines in his blades, and I was kind of inspired to have some sort of flow with these. You can even classify these as pencil knives, I guess. But they're double hollow ground, down to a very, very fine edge, almost a zero edge. Just barely an edge on them, but it's extremely sharp. Like I can't even put full pressure on there because I'll slice myself. One cool thing that I did that I've never seen anyone else do until Jay Nelson did it after I did it, so I don't want to say he copied me because I don't think he even follows me, but were how I did the pins. So I have only 3 pins in this that are actually mechanically bound through the blade itself or through the handle itself, but the rest of them, they're different sizes. So you go large, medium, and small, and they kind of go in an S shape. So if you can see that, I'm pretty proud of how these came out because they're all 3 identically the same. So I got blue and yellow, and I have, this is black and red. Sorry, I had to kind of look at it because the light is blinding me. Black and red kind of pops with these brass pins a little bit. And then this one is actually my personal favorite because I'm a fan of red, is this kind of blood red. So these, I'm selling these as a set of 3. So yeah, again, Somebody told me, one of my friends that's also a knife maker, when I was starting to get frustrated that I wasn't really selling a lot of my work, was that, you know, just because I'm making something specific out of my mind doesn't mean that people necessarily like it or want it. So kind of a reality check for me. This is the second chef's knife that I've ever made. This is an 8-inch chef knife. This one is made out of AEBL with, it's pronounced Wengi, wood handles with red liners, polished 1/4-inch pins as well. This light is so light, or this knife is so freaking light, but yet so well balanced. Again, I'm not sure how I got it that light. I think it's, you know, it's like 1/8 of an inch thick. It's, I don't know, 1/4 of a millimeter. I don't know thousandths very well. 1/4 of a millimeter or so before the primary bevel, or I'm sorry, primary cutting edge, obviously. And it's razor sharp. I can cut through basically toilet paper with this thing with my breath. Finish could be a little bit better. I didn't spend a ton of time on it, on the sanding. It does have my actual logo that's kind of a jumbo size to match the size of the knife on here. Pinch points are really good, really comfortable, absolutely no hot spots. I've actually used this knife for Thanksgiving a couple years ago and it performed amazingly. So this one is available as well. No sheath with this, but it will come with a padded pouch. We're almost home, so let me get to the next couple. So this was another first for me. This was after I purchased the forging press. So obviously you can tell my level of sheath making has gone up quite a bit. I'm quite proud of this leather sheath. It turned out nice. It's probably my favorite. It's obviously my favorite one that I've done so far. The handle is Honduran rosewood. It has a museum fit. Also, I failed to mention this Skinner and this Bushcraft Beast both have museum fits as well. And what museum fit is it's not a smooth transition from wood to metal part of the handle. It's kind of where they kind of go into each other at a slight arch. It's not uncomfortable, doesn't create any hot spots, but it's just gives it a little bit more depth of texture. So anyways, back to this one. This is my first canister Damascus, and I have a video on this of me making this. Sorry, it's a little bit dirty because I did put oil on it just before I put it in the sheath, so some of the suede from the inside has come off, but anyway. So this has fish hooks and 1095 steel powder. Really came out really cool. I actually ground the fuller on an Origin blade maker fuller grinder attachment, which I can post that down in the link so you can actually see that in action. I did a product demonstration on that. This is more of a kind of a mini buoy slash fighter. Fits perfect in the hand. Nicely sculpted, nice finish to the handle. I've carried this a couple of times, but I haven't actually used it, but I know for a fact it's super sharp. So yeah, I'm very proud of this one. This is probably, I would say, one of my nicest ones to date. Sheath fits perfectly, doesn't fall out, stays in there nice and secure, and it's, you know, nicely shaped to the contours of the handle. The last one I need to apologize for because I actually kind of did it on a whim yesterday while I had some time in between dropping my daughter off at school and going to work. A first for me. I will post videos of the progression of this now, but the forging took me about 2 hours to do, which is this, my first sword ever. From here to here is from base to tip is right now is 31.5 inches. So I'm actually, I'm sorry, 30.5 inches. I'm imagining this to be about 30 to 29.5 inches full length after it's full ground to shape. Right now it's super heavy. It's over a 1/4 inch thick. I forged this out of a piece of leaf spring that I have from my backyard. No micro cracks in it. I ground it nice and almost to a mirror polish and then etched it before I actually forged it out. I could not see any inclusions or micro cracks or anything like that. So I know this for a fact that this is a very sturdy piece of leaf spring. I'm probably going to wind up keeping this for myself just because this will be my first sword I have ever made, especially if it turns out right and it doesn't warp or anything like that. I got to figure out what I'm going to do for quenching. I have a quench tank, but it's filled with canola oil, which I don't use anymore. I actually use manufactured quench oils. It's proven to be a lot more consistent. So that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, this is going to be a project I'm going to take my time on. I'm going to do a full guard. I'm going to do a really nice handle, either out of ash or purple heart or something like that. And I'm also going to make the pommel all by myself without a milling machine. So stay tuned for all of that. Good things coming up in 2022. So that's all I have for now, guys. I got more pictures if I find them on my phone of knives that I've made and have sold this year. I will definitely post them on the in-betweens or maybe at the end for you guys to see. And maybe if you like something there, you want me to make something for you like what you see, just let me know, and I'd be happy to do that. So anyways, that's all I got for now, guys. I appreciate you again joining me. If you liked the video, if you got something out of it, or if you're inspired by me, I'd appreciate if you could leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Subscription is right there. You can click on that. And also leave a comment, anything you like. Again, reach out to me, I appreciate it. You can reach me at bartleyblades@gmail.com. Link for that's down in the description below. And again, I gotta plug it every time because I'm such a believer in it. If you want the best knife grinding products, 2x72 belt grinders, attachments, beveling jigs, contact wheels, you name it, he's got it. Go to originblademaker.com. Catch you guys around the corner.